Okay, so if you have a menu template inside of Photoshop, you'll see the layers on the sidebar right here. These are the different layers, and in this particular file, they are all categorized out into folders. If you don't see layers here on the right-hand side, over here, you can come up to the window at the very top of your screen, click Window, and make sure there's a check mark next to Layers. Also, if you don't see a toolbar over here on the left-hand side, over here, you can actually detach this too and bring it over here, but usually it's over here. You can also go to Window and make sure that your tools are checked. So really, for this kind of file, that's all you need is make sure your layers and your toolbar is visible. So on the layers, you can, the little eyeball, I don't know if you can tell that's an eyeball, but it is next to each category here, is to turn that layer on or off visibility wise. So if you click it, it makes all the text go away. So all your text is inside this folder, which you can just use that little drop down arrow next to the folder to show all of the different layers. If you want to change one, just click on the actual layer here. If you want to see which one it is, you can go like turn it on, turn it off. That one is actually down here. This line underneath salty tortilla. So you can go over to your text. The T on the toolbar is text right here. I'm clicking on, hopefully you can see that. There's options there if you hold the button down or right click, but you don't need them. Make sure it's just on horizontal type tool for this particular file. You can either come down and click in here or click anywhere there's text. So let's just go to the top and click inside food menu. As you can see, there's a cursor flashing inside here, meaning we've selected this layer. And you can just highlight it all and change it, or you can just go to the beginning or end and just type something in. I'm just highlighting and using the keyboard, just like you would in any Word document. And when you're done, you can just click off that layer or come choose another tool over here on the left on the sidebar. Anywhere over here. Sometimes I just come and click off the layer, and then I come back into the next thing I want to change. So come back over to the sidebar on the right where the layers are, and you can click off it or click on the next one. Make sure you're still on the text layer, and you can just click on this next one here. And you can change your address just by typing here. So the only thing you'll have to look out for is if it's going to push your layers on top of other layers. But if that's the case, you can change the font. You can highlight the whole thing and come up to the font up here. This is the different fonts you can choose. I have quite a few thousand in here because I do Photoshop all the time. You can also change if that particular font has different styles, like bold or thin or light or italics. You can change things there just by clicking them here, and it'll change it here. So another way to change without making the font maybe bigger or smaller is if you're on the right hand side here again, I'm on this address layer. You can see it's highlighted. So if I click here, it highlights this one. Go back to this one. If you hit Command T, that's transform. And as you can see, I'll zoom in a bit. As you can see, it put a bounding box around it. And when it has that bounding box, you can just move it around, make it smaller or bigger in there. If you hold the Shift key down and grab it, it will just stretch it or squish it one way without making it bigger the other way, as far as like horizontal or diagonal. You can do it on the top too. So I'm grabbing the top bar and holding Shift, and then I can drag it up and down like that. And then let go of Shift wherever you want it. And you hit Enter, it'll commit whatever change you made by hitting Enter. When you're on a layer also, you can use the arrow keys up and down to move things around in small adjustments, or you can just grab it and move it around with the mouse. That's how to move layers and change the text. This little thing right here, little vertical bar, pretty neat way to just separate text from other text. A way to find a layer, in case there's a lot of text layers like there's on this file, you can hold down the control button. Well, I'm on a Mac, so it might be Option or Control, but you hold it down and then you click on that little image or a layer or a piece of artwork, and it'll, to the best of its ability, show you which one it is. Right now it's not sure what I'm clicking on, either the background or shape 6. So I'm pretty sure that's shape 6. I'm gonna tap on it. It jumps right to that layer in the layers panel over here. And I'll turn it on, turn it off. Okay, so that's the entire, this that I clicked on is literally the entire shape background for this whole file. See, I turn it back on, it's all of these shapes. All these lines, all of those is on one layer right here. And these other ones on this. So this is inside the graphics folder. That one is the radish. And if you want to label it, you can double click right there where the name is, where it says shape 10, and you can just type in the name and hit enter of that one. That looks like the meat. So you can label these, and then you can save whenever you're done labeling it and changing it right here, and that'll save your actual template in the Photoshop format. So if you want to change anything else, same thing. Text layer, tap over here in breakfast, you change this to brunch if you want. Click off the layer and it's committed. Same thing with the individual items here. You click in there, inside the text, and it'll put a bounding box, and then you can change it by just typing. Same thing here, Parmesan bread, click in here, change it to garlic bread. Click off the layer, it's committed. So that's pretty much how you change any of the font, or excuse me, text on here. You could change any of these fonts up here, like I said at the top. Size. These are the to align, right align, left align, center. So if we're on this text layer here, this fish and chips, and then we're here and hit center, it'll center it, left align, right align. Probably don't have to mess with those too much if you already have a template that's laid out fairly well like this one is. So back on the layers tab over here, there's our graphics. If you want to change all these graphics to red or blue or green or yellow, whatever it is, you can go to the graphic layer, click on it, right click, blending options at the very top of that, and that gives you blending options for that layer. Color overlay, make sure it's selected and checked. So if you just check something, you're not on that layer necessarily to make adjustments to it. So check and select this so it's highlighted, and then you can come over here and change the color. So click in the color box, come over here to red. If you know your exact coloring for your logos and all of that, you can type the actual hex code in right here. It'll go to that exact color. Click OK. Click OK here, and then you've chosen that color. And as you'll see on that layer on the right hand side in the layers panel, it's now showed you that you've applied an effect to that layer, and the effect is a color overlay. If you wanted to, and there's little eyeballs next to those too, you can turn the effects off to go back to where you were, or you can turn each individual effect off, because there could be a drop shadow or a ton of other different styles connected to this. But right now we just put a color overlay. If you want to change the color, you can just click right on color overlay on that layer and come back here. You can take the opacity up and down. Just make sure you hit OK. If you want to undo something you just did because you messed something up, Command Z on the keyboard, or if you're on a PC, it might be Option or Control Z, which is undo, or you can come up here, Edit, Undo. I think that might cover it for you. If you want to bring in your logo, you can totally do that. Matter of fact, you can just drag the logo in from anywhere on your computer. Like this. So I just drug this from a different file, from a different window, and you can drop it right on top. It'll drop it in, hit enter. And once again, if you want to make it bigger, smaller, whatever, dropped the wrong one, hold on. That one had a background. Obviously you want to try to pull one in without a background on it. That one doesn't have a background. You can, before you hit enter, you can just, it comes in on a bounding box. You can just bring it up and down, however you want to, whatever size you want to make it. Hit enter to commit it. And you could even put it right here if you wanted. And then we'd come over here and to the layers panel on the right again, and maybe just make that radish go away, and then the logo could be here. You could do that anywhere on the page. This page actually has some texture on the background. I can see it there. Hopefully you can see it too. It's like textured paper. It's kind of cool. If you didn't want it, you could just uncheck the little eyeball over here on the layer, and it'll go away. I clicked the wrong one. I clicked the logo texture right here, and then the texture goes away. If you wanted to, probably not. If you're printing a menu at your business or sending it off to print, probably won't want to change the color of the background or anything. Probably want to keep that white, but that's the background layer right here. It's just a white shape of the size of the paper. So that's how you do it. Hopefully you're able to use your text tool and change all your pricing here to your pricing, and change your columns here to the columns you need. If you want to make one go away, as I said, you can come over here to the layers panel and just click the eyeball. If you need any other help, give me a call, connect, email, what have you, or go to geticonic.com and message me through there.